f plus g of x equals x squared plus 3x plus 1. Great thinking if you found this function. To find this function, we simply want to add the two functions together. So we'll have 3x plus 2 for f of x, and we'll have x squared minus 1 for g of x. So notice, here's f of x, and here's g of x. We're just adding the two functions together. Writing the highest power first, I'll have x squared plus 3x plus 1. This is the result of adding these two functions together, f plus g of x. And let's see this on a graph as well. We have f of x, which is our straight line. We have g of x, which is our parabola. And then we have f of x plus g of x. It turns out that this is also a parabola. And remember before that we took f of 2, which that y value was 8, and we added it to g of 2, and that y value was 3. When we add the y values together, here the value of 3, and here the value of 8, we get a new value of 11. Notice that the x-coordinate for each of these points are all the same. They're all 2. But the y value for this point comes from adding these two y values together. So this point came from adding f plus g of 2. But remember, we also found another point, f plus g of 0. We found f plus g of 0 by adding the y-coordinates for here together. We had 0, 2 on our orange graph, or f of x, and we had 0, negative 1 on our blue graph, g of x. So on our new graph, f plus g of x, we have the value 0, 1. Notice that the x-coordinates are all the same, and we get this y-coordinate from adding these two y-coordinates together. This is f of 0, and this is g of 0. Remember that if x equals 0, then the output for this function would just be 2, since 3 times 0 equals 0, and we'd be left with positive 2. So we know this point is on the graph of f. Also, we know this point would be on the graph of g. When x equals 0, the output here is negative 1. So if we want to find f plus g of 0, we simply add these two outputs together, an output of 2 and an output of negative 1, to get an output of positive 1. That's where we get this point from. And notice that this is actually represented for all values of x. Any input that we plug in here and here, we have their sum. This is another way we can think about the function using a graph.